When your wife inherits $33 million, you'd think the celebration would include you. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. I'm standing in the marble foyer of what used to be my father-in-law's Connecticut mansion, watching my wife Vanessa giggle like a schoolgirl, while some 25-year-old pool boy named Tyler massages her shoulders. The funeral was 3 weeks ago. Apparently, that's the appropriate mourning period for a spoiled princess who just hit the lottery. Nate, honey, could you be a dear and get everyone more champagne? Vanessa calls out, not even bothering to look at me. Her friends, Leah and Serena, two carbon copies of entitled suburban wives, snicker behind their manicured hands. I'm Nate Porter, 38 years old, and apparently the hired help in my own home. Well, technically, it's not my home anymore. The deed transferred to Vanessa the moment her father's heart gave out. 5 years of marriage, and I went from husband to servant in the span of a legal document. Sure thing, princess, I mutter, heading to the wine cellar. My military training taught me patience, but it's wearing thin. 8 years in the Army, 3 tours overseas, and now I'm playing butler to a woman who thinks caviar is a food group. The party is in full swing when I return with the Dom Perignon. Vanessa has migrated to the pool area, where Tyler is showing off his physique by doing unnecessary maintenance on the already pristine diving board. She's practically drooling. "Oh, Tyler, you're so strong," she coos, running her fingers along his bicep. "I just don't know what I'd do without you around here." I clear my throat. "Champagne's ready." "Just leave it on the table," she says without looking up. "We're busy." Leah whispers something to Serena, and they both burst into laughter. I catch the words, upgrade and finally. The evening deteriorates from there. By 10 o'clock, Vanessa is openly making out with Tyler on one of the pool loungers, while her friends cheer them on. I'm cleaning up empty glasses and pretending not to notice the spectacle. "Having fun?" Ray, my old army buddy and the only real friend I have left, appears beside me. He's tending bar tonight. I hired him because I knew I'd need at least one ally. "Living the dream," I reply, watching my wife's tongue explore Tyler's mouth. Nothing says, "till death do us part," like public adultery. "You don't have to take this, man." "Don't I?" I gesture around the opulent surroundings. "She owns everything now. The house, the cars, the bank accounts. I'm just the help." That's when Vanessa decides to make her grand announcement. She stands on a chair, swaying slightly from the alcohol, and taps her champagne flute with a butter knife. "Everyone, everyone, I have something to say." The crowd quiets down. Tyler stands behind her, hands possessively on her waist. "I just want to thank you all for being here during this difficult time. Losing Daddy was hard, but having such wonderful friends makes it easier." She pauses for dramatic effect, her eyes finding mine across the patio. "And I want you all to know that I'm finally free to live my life the way I want to. No more pretending, no more settling for less than I deserve." Her gaze shifts to Tyler, who grins like he just won the lottery, which I suppose he thinks he has. "So here's to new beginnings." She raises her glass. "And to getting rid of dead weight." The crowd cheers. Someone, I think it's Serena, shouts, "About time!" I set down the tray of glasses I'm holding and walk toward the house. Behind me, I hear Vanessa's voice, louder now and slurred with alcohol. "Oh, and Nate, I don't need you anymore. Find somewhere else to live, or don't." I honestly don't care. The laughter that follows is like nails on a chalkboard. I keep walking. "Hey!" Tyler's voice stops me at the patio door. "She's talking to you, buddy." I turn around slowly. The kid is all muscle and no brains. The kind of guy who thinks a six-pack abs qualify as a personality. "I heard her," I say calmly. "Then maybe you should get moving. Mrs. Porter doesn't want you here anymore." Mrs. Porter. 3 hours ago, she was still calling herself Vanessa Grant, keeping her maiden name for professional reasons. Now she's Mrs. Porter, and I'm the one being evicted. "You know what, Tyler?" I step closer to him. Even at 38, I'm in decent shape, and my military bearing still commands respect. "You're absolutely right." I head inside to pack my things. It doesn't take long. Most of my possessions are either military memorabilia or tools from my handyman business. Everything else belongs to the house, which means it belongs to Vanessa. I'm loading my truck when Frank, the security guard Vanessa hired last month, approaches. He's a big guy, ex-cop, probably taking this job for easy money. "Mrs. Porter wants you off the property," he says, not unkindly. "Almost done." I throw my duffel bag into the truck bed. "Tell me something, Frank. You ever been married?" He nods. 23 years. "Your wife ever throw you out for the pool boy?" Frank's expression softens slightly. "Can't say she has." "Then you're a lucky man." I climb into my truck, a 10-year-old Ford F-150 that's seen better days but still runs. Through the windshield, I can see the party continuing. Vanessa and Tyler are back to groping each other, and her friends are taking pictures with their phones. "Guess I'll be sleeping in the truck tonight," I mutter, starting the engine. At least it doesn't leak. Much. The next morning, I'm parked outside Ray's apartment building, trying to work out the kinks in my neck from sleeping in the cab, when my phone rings. The caller ID shows Kessler and Associates, the family law firm that handled Vanessa's father's estate. "Mr. Porter, this is Harold Kessler. I need to see you in my office immediately." "About what?" "About your wife's inheritance. There's something she apparently failed to mention." An hour later, I'm sitting across from Harold Kessler, a thin man in his 60s with wire-rimmed glasses and the demeanor of someone who's seen every kind of family drama imaginable. "Did you read the will, Mr. Porter?" Vanessa said I didn't need to, that everything was straightforward. Kessler removes his glasses and cleans them slowly. "I'm afraid your wife was selective in her interpretation of her father's wishes." He slides a document across the desk. "Page 17, paragraph 4. Would you mind reading that aloud?" I scan the legal jargon until I find the relevant section. "The inheritance of the estate, including all properties, investments, and liquid assets, is contingent upon the beneficiary producing legitimate heirs within 18 months of the testator's death. Said heirs to be conceived and born within the bonds of matrimony to her current spouse, Nathan Porter." I look up. "What does that mean exactly?" "It means your wife only inherits if she has children with you, Mr. Porter. If she fails to produce offspring within the specified time frame, the entire estate goes to the American Cancer Society." I read the paragraph again, making sure I understand. "She has to have my babies or she gets nothing." "That's correct. Your father-in-law was very specific about this. He told me, and I quote, 'Vanessa needs to learn responsibility, and Nate's the only man I trust to teach her. And if we're divorced, the inheritance is void immediately. The charity gets everything.'" I lean back in my chair, processing this information. Does Vanessa know about this clause? She does now. I called her this morning after hearing about last night's festivities. Apparently news travels fast in your social circle. I can't help but smile. I'll bet she took that well. She's demanding to see me this afternoon, with her attorney present. "And the pool boy?" Kessler's mouth twitches slightly. "I suspect Mr. Grant will be less prominent in her immediate plans." I'm still grinning when I leave Kessler's office. My phone has 6 missed calls from Vanessa, and a dozen text messages that progress from angry to panicked to downright desperate. The last one, sent just 5 minutes ago, reads, "We need to talk. About us. About our future. Come home." Home. Funny how quickly the vocabulary changes when $33 million is on the line. I text back, "What, no pool boy this time?" Her response is immediate. "Please, I made a mistake. Let's fix this." I sit in my truck for a long moment, considering my options. I could go back, play the forgiving husband, and pretend last night never happened. We could have kids, she'd get her money, and maybe we could find some way to make it work. Or I could make her sweat a little first. I start the truck and head toward Ray's bar. It's barely noon, but I need a drink and some time to think. Because something tells me this is about to get very interesting. Ray's bar, the Foxhole, is exactly what you'd expect from a veteran-owned establishment. Dim lighting, cheap beer, and a clientele that minds its own business. It's also the only place in town where I can think without being bothered. "You look like hell," Ray says, sliding a beer across the bar. "Feel worse?" I take a long sip. "You hear about the will yet?" "Heard Vanessa was making some calls this morning. Something about needing a lawyer." I fill him in on my meeting with Kessler. By the time I finish, Ray is shaking his head. "So she needs to get pregnant by you, or she loses everything?" "That's the size of it. And she threw you out for the pool boy last night." "In front of 30 people." Ray laughs. "Your father-in-law was a smart man. Vanessa's about to learn a very expensive lesson about loyalty. My phone buzzes. Another text from Vanessa. I'm sorry about last night. I was drunk and upset about Daddy. Please come home so we can talk. She's really trying to reel you back in, Ray observes, reading over my shoulder. Question is, do I let her? That depends. You still love her? I consider this. I love the woman I married, but that woman hasn't existed for years. This Vanessa is someone else entirely. So, what's the play? Before I can answer, the bar door opens and Vanessa walks in. She's dressed down, jeans and a sweater, instead of her usual designer outfits, and she looks like she's been crying. Behind her, surprisingly, is Serena. Nate, thank God you're here. Vanessa rushes over, ignoring the stares from the other patrons. We need to talk. I'm listening. She glances around nervously. Not here. Somewhere private. This is private enough. I gesture to the nearly empty bar. Say what you came to say. Vanessa takes a deep breath. I know about the will clause. Mr. Kessler explained everything. I figured. I also know I screwed up last night. I was grieving and confused, and I made some terrible choices. You mean Tyler? Her face flushes. Tyler was a mistake. A stupid, meaningless mistake. Looked pretty meaningful from where I was standing. Serena steps forward. Nate, you have to understand. Vanessa's been under enormous stress since her father died. She wasn't thinking clearly. And you were encouraging her to think unclearly, if I remember correctly. I was being a supportive friend. By cheering while she made out with another man? Ray snorts into his beer. Vanessa shoots him a dirty look before turning back to me. Look, I know I hurt you. I know I said things I shouldn't have said. But we can fix this, Nate. We can have the family we always talked about. Did we always talk about that? Because I remember you saying kids would ruin your figure. I've changed my mind. How convenient. Vanessa's composure cracks slightly. Damn it, Nate. I'm trying to apologize here. No, you're trying to save your inheritance. There's a difference. She stares at me for a long moment, then sits down on the bar stool next to mine. You're right. I am trying to save my inheritance, but I'm also trying to save our marriage. By seducing me? If that's what it takes. I have to admire her honesty, even if it's brutally calculating. And if I say no, then we both lose everything. You think I'm the only one who benefits from this arrangement? You're my husband, Nate. Half of that money is legally yours. She's not wrong. Community property laws would give me a substantial claim to the inheritance, assuming we stay married and she gets pregnant. What about Tyler? What about him? Are you going to fire him? Vanessa exchanges a glance with Serena. Actually, we thought he could stay on, to maintain the pool. I almost laugh. You want to keep your boy toy around while you're trying to seduce me back into your bed? It's not like that. Then what is it like? Another glance between the two women. They're planning something, but I can't figure out what. Tyler understands the situation, Serena says carefully. He knows that Vanessa's marriage has to be the priority right now. How understanding of him. The point is, Vanessa continues, we can make this work. You move back home, we work on our relationship, and in 9 months we're parents and millionaires. And if the relationship doesn't work out, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I finish my beer and stand up. I need time to think about this. How much time? A few days, maybe a week. Vanessa's eyes flash with panic. How? We don't have a week. The clock is already ticking on that 18-month deadline. Then you should have thought of that before you threw me out. I head for the door, but Vanessa grabs my arm. Nate, please. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm asking for another chance. Looking into her eyes, I see something I haven't seen in years. Genuine fear. Not fear of losing me, but fear of losing everything else. It's not exactly romantic, but it's honest. I'll call you tomorrow, I tell her. Promise? Promise. She kisses my cheek, a chaste, almost sisterly gesture, and leaves with Serena. Through the window, I watch them get into Vanessa's BMW and drive away. That was interesting, Ray says. That was pathetic. You going back to her? I consider this. Maybe, but not for the reasons she thinks. What do you mean? I mean, if Vanessa wants to play games, I can play games too, and I'm better at them than she is. 3 days later, I'm back at the Foxhole, when a woman I've never seen before approaches my table. She's attractive, late 20s, dark hair, curves in all the right places, and she's clearly interested in conversation. "You're Nate Porter, right?" she says, sliding into the booth across from me. "Depends who's asking." "I'm Monica." She extends a manicured hand. "I heard about your situation." "What situation is that?" "Your wife, the inheritance, the complications." I lean back, suddenly wary. "And you know this how?" "Small town. People talk." She signals Ray for a drink. "I also heard you might be looking for some companionship while you figure things out." "Did you now?" "A woman in my position hears all sorts of things." "What position is that?" Monica smiles mysteriously. "Let's just say I provide services to men who need them." The pieces click into place. "Vanessa hired you." "I don't know what you mean." "Sure you don't." I stand up to leave, but Monica grabs my wrist. "Wait, even if that were true, does it matter? You're clearly not happy with your wife. I could help you forget about her for a while. And what happens after I forget about her? That's up to you." I should walk away. Every instinct I have is screaming that this is a trap. But Monica's beautiful and I'm angry, and I've had just enough to drink to make bad decisions seem reasonable. "One drink," I say, sitting back down. "One drink," she agrees. 4 hours later, I wake up in a hotel room with the worst hangover of my life and the sinking realization that I've been played. Monica is gone, along with any evidence that she was ever here. The only thing she left behind is a receipt from the hotel bar, showing that I bought drinks for 2 people last night, and a used condom wrapper on the nightstand. I stumble to the bathroom and splash cold water on my face. In the mirror, I see a man who's been thoroughly outmaneuvered by his own wife. "I always wanted to be a sperm donor," I muttered in my reflection. "Just not like this." My phone has 3 missed calls from Vanessa and a text message. "Hope you had fun last night. We should talk soon." I checked the timestamp. The message was sent at 2:47 a.m., which means Vanessa knew exactly where I was and what I was doing. The trap is closing, and I walked right into it. 2 weeks later, Vanessa calls with the news I've been dreading and expecting in equal measure. "I'm pregnant," she announces without preamble. "Congratulations." "It's yours, Nate. The timing lines up perfectly with your little adventure." "Does it?" "The doctor confirmed it yesterday. I'm 6 weeks along." I do the math. 6 weeks puts conception right around the time Monica showed up at the foxhole. It's possible, assuming we actually had sex, which is still fuzzy in my memory. "What do you want from me?" I ask. "I want you to come home. I want us to be a family. And if I refuse? Then you'll miss out on 18 years of your child's life, and I'll raise him or her as a single mother with $33 million. She has me, and she knows it. Whether the baby's actually mine or not, the timing is close enough that a court would likely award her paternity. And even if I could prove otherwise, she'd still get the inheritance as long as she's married to me when the child is born." "I need to see a lawyer," I tell her. "See all the lawyers you want. The facts are the facts." "We'll see about that." But even as I say it, I know she's right. Vanessa has outplayed me at every turn, and now she's holding all the cards. Or so she thinks. Harold Kessler's office feels different this time. Maybe it's because I'm no longer the wronged husband seeking answers, but a man who's been systematically manipulated by his wife and her accomplices. "The pregnancy test is legitimate," Kessler confirms, reviewing the medical records Vanessa provided. "And the timeline does align with your encounter with this Monica person. Assuming we actually had sex. You don't remember?" "I remember drinking. I remember waking up in a hotel room. Everything in between is pretty much a blank." Kessler removes his glasses and cleans them, a habit I'm beginning to recognize as his way of buying time to think. "Mr. Porter, I have to ask you directly. Do you believe your wife orchestrated this entire scenario?" "I know she did. I just can't prove it." "Then we need to find proof." "How?" "By doing what any good investigator does. We follow the money trail." Kessler makes a phone call to someone named Jill Hendricks, a private investigator who apparently specializes in matrimonial cases. Within an hour, she's sitting in his office with us. Jill is not what I expected. She's maybe 45, with graying hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, and the no-nonsense demeanor of someone who's seen every kind of marital deception imaginable. Your wife paid Monica Reeves $5,000 3 days before your encounter, she says, consulting a tablet. The payment was made through Venmo, which makes it easy to track. That's pretty sloppy for a conspiracy, I observe. Rich people often are sloppy. They assume money can fix any problem, so they don't bother covering their tracks. What else did you find? Monica has a history of this kind of work. She's been involved in at least 3 other cases where wives needed to obtain genetic material from unwilling husbands. Genetic material? Sperm, Mr. Porter. For artificial insemination. The room goes quiet as the implications sink in. You're saying Vanessa had me drugged and robbed? I'm saying it's a possibility we should investigate. Jill shows me a series of photographs on her tablet. Monica entering the foxhole. Monica talking to me at the bar. Monica leaving the hotel the next morning, carrying a small cooler. A cooler? The kind used to transport biological samples. I stare at the photos, trying to reconcile them with my fragmented memories of that night. So, Vanessa hired Monica to seduce me, steal my genetic material, and then artificially inseminate herself? It would explain how she got pregnant without actually having sex with you, Kessler notes. But why go through all this trouble? She could have just asked me directly. Could she? Jill asks. Based on what I've learned about your relationship, would you have agreed to father her child after she publicly humiliated you? She has a point. Even if Vanessa had approached me directly after the will reading, I probably would have said no, just out of spite. So what's our next move? We get Monica to talk, Jill says, and we document everything. Finding Monica turns out to be easier than expected. She's working as a cocktail waitress at an upscale restaurant in downtown Hartford, apparently between assignments. I approach her during her break when she's smoking a cigarette behind the restaurant. Hello, Monica. She looks up startled. Nate, what are you doing here? Looking for answers. I don't know what you mean. Sure you do. I sit down on a nearby crate, making it clear I'm not going anywhere. Vanessa hired you to seduce me. The question is, what exactly did you do after you got me to that hotel room? Monica takes a long drag from her cigarette. I don't have to talk to you. No, you don't, but you might want to anyway. Why? I pull out my phone and show her the photos Jill took. Because we have evidence of what you did. And because Vanessa is about to come into a lot of money, which means she'll have the resources to make sure you never work in this town again. Monica's composure cracks slightly. She said it was a simple job. Seduce you, get some evidence of infidelity, help her with the divorce proceedings. But that's not what happened, is it? No. She drops her cigarette and crushes it under her heel. She wanted more than evidence. She wanted genetic material. Monica nods reluctantly. She said her husband was being stubborn about having kids, and she needed to take matters into her own hands. So you drugged me. Rohypnol in your beer. Just enough to make you compliant and fuzzy on the details. And then? Then I did what she paid me to do. I got what she needed and delivered it to her friend Serena, who was waiting in the parking lot with a cooler. I feel sick. You realize what you're describing is sexual assault, right? I realize it's $5,000 for one night's work. And you're okay with that? Monica lights another cigarette. Look, I'm not proud of it, but Vanessa said you were a cheating husband who deserved what was coming to you. Did she also tell you I'm a military veteran who's never cheated on his wife? She might have left out those details. I stand up. Here's what's going to happen, Monica. You're going to give me a full statement about what Vanessa hired you to do. In exchange, I won't press charges for assault. And if I refuse, then I call the police right now and let them sort it out. Monica considers this for a long moment. What kind of statement? Everything. The payment, the drugs, the genetic material. All of it. Vanessa will destroy me if she finds out I talked. Vanessa's going to have bigger problems to worry about. 2 hours later, I'm back in Kessler's office with a signed confession from Monica detailing the entire scheme. Jill has also provided bank records showing the payment from Vanessa to Monica, as well as text messages between Vanessa and Serena discussing the plan. This is enough for a fraud case, Kessler says, reviewing the documents, possibly criminal charges as well. What about the inheritance? If we can prove the pregnancy was achieved through fraud, the will clause becomes void. The money goes to charity. And Vanessa gets nothing? Nothing. I lean back in my chair, processing this information. A week ago, I was the wronged husband with no options. Now, I'm holding evidence that could destroy my wife's life. There's something else, Jill says. I've been monitoring Vanessa's communications, and she's planning something. What kind of something? She knows you're investigating, and she's getting desperate. How desperate? The kind of desperate that makes people do stupid things. As if on cue, my phone rings. Vanessa's name appears on the screen. Nate, we need to talk, she says without preamble. Tonight. About what? About our future, about our family, about making this work. I'm listening. Not over the phone. Meet me at the house at 8 o'clock. Just you and me? Just you and me. After she hangs up, I look at Kessler and Jill. Think it's a trap? Absolutely, Jill says. But it might also be an opportunity. For what? To get her confession on record. Kessler opens his desk drawer and pulls out a small recording device. Connecticut is a one-party consent state. As long as you're part of the conversation, you can legally record it. And if she admits to the fraud, then we have everything we need to destroy her. At 7:30, I'm parked outside the mansion that used to be my home, testing the recording device and trying to calm my nerves. Through the windows, I can see lights on in the living room, but no sign of Vanessa or anyone else. I walk up to the front door and ring the bell. Vanessa answers immediately as if she's been waiting by the door. Nate, thank you for coming. She's dressed casually but elegantly. A silk blouse and designer jeans that probably cost more than most people make in a week. Come in. The house looks the same, but it feels different. Maybe it's because I know I don't belong here anymore. Or maybe it's because I'm seeing it through the eyes of someone who's been systematically betrayed. Can I get you a drink? Vanessa asks. I'll pass. Coffee? Water? I'm fine. She leads me to the living room, where a fire is crackling in the fireplace. It's all very cozy and domestic, which makes it feel even more artificial. How are you feeling? I ask, gesturing toward her still flat stomach. Good. Tired, but good. The doctor says everything looks normal. That's great. We sit down on opposite ends of the couch, the space between us feeling like a canyon. Nate, I know things have been complicated between us lately. That's one way to put it. But I want you to know that I'm committed to making this work. To making us work. Even though you had to drug me to get pregnant? The color drains from her face. What are you talking about? Monica told me everything, Vanessa. The $5,000, the Rohypnol, the genetic material, all of it. For a moment, she looks like she's going to deny it. Then her shoulders slump in defeat. How did you find her? It wasn't hard. You left a pretty obvious trail. I suppose you think you're very clever? I think I'm married to a woman who's capable of sexual assault to get what she wants. Vanessa's composure snaps. Sexual assault? Are you kidding me? I'm your wife. That doesn't give you the right to drug me and steal my sperm. I was trying to save our marriage. By committing fraud? By giving us the family we both wanted. I never wanted a family with someone who would do what you did. Vanessa stands up and starts pacing. Fine. You want the truth? Here's the truth. I hired Monica because I knew you'd never agree to have children with me after that night at the pool, and I needed to get pregnant to save the inheritance. So you admit it was fraud. I admit it was necessary. And the Rohypnol? Monica's idea. She said it would be easier for everyone involved. Easier for everyone except me. You weren't supposed to remember any of it. I stand up as well. That doesn't make it right, Vanessa. Right? You want to talk about right? Her voice is rising now. What about what you did to me? What about the humiliation of being married to someone who never appreciated what he had? What are you talking about? I'm talking about 5 years of marriage to a man who treated me like a burden instead of a wife. I treated you like a partner. You treated me like the help. Because that's all you ever were. A handyman who got lucky when I said yes to your proposal. The words hit like a physical blow, but I keep my voice steady. Is that really how you see me? It's how everyone sees you, Nate. the war hero who married above his station and never quite fit in. And Tyler? How does he fit in? Tyler appreciates me. Tyler makes me feel desired and beautiful and worth something. So why didn't you just divorce me and marry him? Because Tyler doesn't have a trust fund clause requiring him to father my children. There it is. The truth, finally laid bare. I'm not her husband. I'm a sperm donor with a legal obligation. Well, congratulations, I say, heading for the door. You got what you wanted. Where are you going? To see my lawyer. Nate, wait. She follows me to the foyer. We can still make this work. The baby is yours, regardless of how it was conceived. We can be a family. No, we can't. Why not? I turn to face her one last time. Because I could never trust you again. And because what you did to me was unforgivable. So, what happens now? Now you find out what it's like to lose everything. I leave her standing in the doorway and drive straight to Kessler's office. The recording device captured every word of our conversation, including her full confession to fraud. This is it, Kessler says after listening to the recording. This is everything we need. What's our next move? We file a motion to invalidate the inheritance based on fraud, and we prepare for war. War? Vanessa's not going to go down without a fight. She'll throw everything she has at us to try to save that money. Let her try. There's one more thing, Nate. If we succeed in proving fraud, the pregnancy becomes irrelevant to the inheritance. But you'll still be the legal father of that child. I hadn't considered this. What does that mean? It means you'll have parental rights and responsibilities, regardless of what happens with the money. And Vanessa? Vanessa will be a single mother with no inheritance and a criminal record for fraud. For the first time in weeks, I smile. When do we start?